from a week in Sierra Vista, Arizona, visiting my sister with another sister and a cousin, and we had a good time, 60 degrees and sunny-ish every day, and we just had a very, very wonderful time. Played some cards, just had a great time. Unfortunately, Saturday morning, as we're going to head back to Tucson to catch a flight, we got word that a cousin of mine who was in a care home in Hinckley died suddenly. She was 80 but not physically sick, but she had Alzheimer's, and all of a sudden they found her on the floor. So we were with her sister, so it kind of was a tumultuous day, but we will deal with that and know that she is in a place where she is now at peace and not confused anymore. So that's a good thing. So glad to be here. What we've been talking about this month, talking about the bridge, is we've been talking about getting from what our desires are. What is the God stuff within us that we desire, and how do we actually manifest it? And we've talked about we got to cross the bridge to get there. So that's what we're talking about this month, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more today. I'm going to use this book. Many of you know The Alchemist, written by Paulo Coelho, however you say it. And it's The Alchemist, a fable of following your dreams. And it's a little metaphysical. It's a little, this is my third time that I've read it. And of course, Carl read it and he remembered what it was about. I had no, I mean, every time I read it again, I'm like, oh, this is surprising. But it has a message, and that's what we're going to be using a little bit of that today. And I want to review this book a little bit so you know what we're talking about. In this book, there's a shepherd boy named Santiago. He's got some sheep, and he has this dream that this young person, little kid, comes to play with these sheep, and he doesn't like anybody touching his sheep, but the sheep seemed to like this little kid and know that the kid was safe. And then in the dream also, the little kid took Santiago in the dream to the pyramids, and he was about to reveal a treasure, and then he woke up. And so he figured there was a kind of a meaningful dream. So he took it to a gypsy woman, and he said, interpret this dream for me. What could this have meant? And the gypsy woman said, well, yeah, how about go to the pyramids? And so Santiago, he didn't know where the pyramids were. He didn't know how to get there, and he didn't have any money, but he thought, okay, this was his dream. Okay, this was his, kind of God-inspired dream. He's got this message to go to the pyramids. So that's kind of how the book goes. He's crossing this bridge from what he desires to that treasure. And so that's what he's doing. He's having these adventures. He's getting robbed, and he's working in a crystal shop, and he's meeting these different people. One of the people he meets, is that right? One of the people he meets? One of the guys he meets says he's a king. And he gives him some words of wisdom, one of which was this. The guy says to him, when you want something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it. And of course, the universe with a capital U. And this is what we talk about when we have a dream. And it's like oftentimes I noticed that Debbie has quoted this guy too, William Hutchinson Murray, Scottish mountaineer. It's a wonderful essay, and in that essay he says, the moment one definitely commits, then providence moves too. Providence with a capital P. The moment one definitely commits, then providence moves too. And how wonderful is that? How wonderful is that to know that when we really want something, a God dream, something that's going to hurt nobody, for the good of all, harm of none, that kind of thing, that we're going to get this support. So he was listening to these people, this king that was giving him this advice, and he finally got enough money to travel in this caravan toward the pyramids. But there was a lot of fighting going on in the desert, these really hostile tribes, and it was dangerous to be out there. So they were heading for this oasis. Now, when I think of an oasis, I think of a little spot about 10 times the size of this table with a palm tree and a little stream, you know. Well, this oasis was like a town, a big town, and, you know, a lot of women and children. So the tribes that are fighting don't go there. So it's a safety net. You go into this oasis and you're safe. So that's what this caravan just said. We got to stop here. We're going to stay here a while because it's dangerous out there. So one night Santiago is outside and he's looking at the stars and he's just, you know, dreaming about the pyramids and how great this treasure's going to be. All of a sudden, he sees this guy on a huge steed riding, galloping toward him with a big saber in his arm, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna die now, you know. and yet the guy comes up to him on this horse, and he doesn't kill him. They become companions, and this guy said, I'm gonna take you to the pyramids. And it turns out that this very guy on the steed is the alchemist. Now, I think of an alchemist as kind of a lab guy with a white coat doing stuff. And one of the things that was expected of an alchemist in the day was that they could take ore, any kind of metal, and turn it into gold. So that's why some of the people sought out the alchemist. Now, this kid thought that this alchemist would be a wise person, and he didn't expect him running toward him with a saber. But they became companions, and they go to the pyramids, and it goes on from there, and it has a happy ending. That's all I'm saying. So one of the things that the boy asked the alchemist is, he said, my heart is afraid it will have to suffer. He said to the alchemist. And the alchemist says, tell your heart no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. Because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity. So did you ever notice that when you're striving to meet some sort of a goal, that you have a better relationship with your higher power because you want some help? You're reaching out for that help, that support that you want. So that night, the boy slept deeply, and when he awoke, his heart began to tell him things that came from the soul of the world. It said, everyone on earth has a treasure that awaits him. We, the people's hearts, seldom say much about those treasures because people no longer want to go in search of them. You know, ain't that the truth? You know, so many of us just, whatever life brings, I go to work, I come home, I go to work, I come home, try to get enough money to retire, whatever. They don't go to search of those treasures anymore. Unfortunately, they don't go for the path laid out for them, the path to their personal legend. And that is the truth. I think most people they don't listen to that inside voice that says, go for this, you're good at this, make this a part of your life, get excited about life, have some passion. Most people don't go there. They hear that voice and it's the old la 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 la, I don't hear you. They don't want to strive for that. So the boy understood that, and so he was happy to hear that he could listen to his heart. And he says, is that all I need to know? What should I do now? And the alchemist says, well, continue in the direction of the pyramid. In other words, your divinely directed dream. And continue to pay heed to the omens or your intuition. Now that's what we have to do. Keep like St. Paul says in the Bible, keep your eye on the prize. What good advice that is. Keep your eye on the prize. Remember where you're going. And then listen. Listen when your heart tells you this or that. So the alchemist said, listen to the dreams. And the kid says, is that the one thing I need to know? And the alchemist said, no, what you still need to know is this: before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything that was learned along the way. And it doesn't do it because it's evil, but so that we can, in addition to realizing our dreams, master the lessons we've learned as we move toward that dream. Okay. Now, when I read about this, when I read the world tests everything, I remembered something from when I was in catechism at Missouri Synod Lutheran. And I remembered this phrase, God indeed tempts no one. And I should have brought, I was thinking about bringing it. You would get a kick out of my little catechism. It is so it was used. It's fallen apart. It's got little asterisks all over the place, and I was studying that. We knew it upside down and backwards, and I remembered that. God indeed tempts. And it was in relationship to a description or an explanation of the Lord's Prayer. Lead us not into temptation. And he said, God indeed tempts no one. And I frankly, I'm into that. I don't think God says, well, you want that? Well, I'm going to put this obstacle in the way. See if you can do that. I think we put enough obstacles in our own way. You know, we've got the worry, we've got the anxiety, we've got the weariness, we've got I thought I believed, but all of a sudden I've lost my faith. I don't have my connection with God. You know, haven't you all had that? I certainly have. You run into an obstacle, and all of a sudden you got these things that feel, if you believe that, like God's testing. I don't think God is testing us. I think we're just letting ourselves be open to the problems that come up, and when our back is turned a little bit and we're not seeing the light, it's our attitude toward these obstacles that makes a difference in our life. So I was thinking about recently we learned that a relative very near and dear to me has what they call, and some of you know this, they call it alcohol-induced Alzheimer's. He's 60 years old. Just broke our heart. And so all of a sudden, my family, my siblings are thinking, we're responsible. We got, you know, remember the old days, didn't almost everybody have an uncle or something that lived with them? Or, you know, that's how we did it. We took care of our own, and we're not, you know, we're kind of waiting for some guidance and trying to, you know, we all want to do the right thing. But when the first couple days I'm hearing this, and we're bringing, this is my brother, we're bringing my brother from Spokane. We want to bring him back here where he's got siblings. And so when this first happened, I went to bed and I'm like having angst. I'm worried. I'm scared. I'm thinking, ooh, how in the heck can I keep this guy in my house? You know, keep an eye on him. How am I going to live my life? I was just like riled up, and I thought, wow, how's this going to work? And then I just, you know, I remembered I'm not alone in this. This is where you call on your higher power. And I just took a deep breath. And what came to me was that a verse that Jesus is credited with in the Bible, and it's, my peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. I mean, the hair on my arms just stands up when I say that, to think that that's the message we're given by our higher power. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. What a great way to go to sleep. And then the other thing that has always comforted me is the word, everything is in divine order, everything is as it should be. Very comforting. There's nothing amiss here. This is the way it should be. And then I also like the passage, I think you gave it to me, Celeste. I don't think we know where it came from. Despite appearances, there's something moving in the unseen for our greater good. We don't know why this is happening, but something in the unseen, with a capital U, is moving for our greater good. And I repeated those things as I laid there in bed, and I just allowed myself, slept like a baby, and guess what? Woke up with no angst, no worry, just thinking, hey, you know, we got a deal to do here, and we're going to do it, and just know that with that higher power on our side, we're going to be able to do this. So I think when we say we're tested, you know, we're going to have some obstacles, but boy, we have some tools to overcome that kind of thing. Then there's one other point that the alchemist made, and he said, you got to ask yourself, how much do I want what I say I want? And I think people do that. They put something out there that they say they want, but it might be something that was kind of pushed on them by their parents or maybe their spouse. You know, this is what you should do. This would be good for you. And maybe it's not something that really comes from our heart. So how much do I want what I say I want? And, you know, we've had such wonderful examples of this. And, you know, one of them we talk about Thomas Edison and how many times he, you know, was failed coming up with the light bulb. Was it 2,000 times? And he just said, well, I don't count those failures. I just figure that's another way not to do it. Just keep on going. And then the Beatles, they go to a recording company, and the executives tell them, we don't really like your sound. We think that guitars are on the way out. That's what they told the Beatles. And, you know, had they listened to that, we would have missed some good music. And so I think that a lot of these things, they knew what they wanted. They weren't going to be discouraged. Well, they might have been discouraged, but they didn't say, well, yeah, let's quit. They just went on and said, let's go to somebody else, play the music. Somebody's going to like it. And Lucille Ball, she goes to her to this acting school, and her head instructor tells her, try another profession, dear. Try anything. Lucille Ball, can you believe it? You know, I'm sure she went out maybe hanging her head, but she thought, wait a minute, what's that guy know anyway? Everybody else is telling me I got a talent. I'm gonna move forward. There was a woman. She was born 20th of 22 children, and she was premature. They didn't expect her to live, and when she was 4 years old, she had double pneumonia, and she had scarlet fever and lost the use of her left leg. So they put a brace on it. She was wearing that brace. When she's 9 years old, she takes the brace off because she decided she wanted to be a runner. And so she starts running, and she enters races. She comes in last to all the races because she can't run. I mean, she's having strength and so forth and so on. And then pretty soon she's not last. All of a sudden she wins a race, and she wins another race, and she wins another race. This woman was Wilma Rudolph, and she won 3 gold medals, 1956 and 1960. Can you believe it? I mean, what a God-given inspiration that was. How she must have wanted that, to overcome that. I mean, I think it's hard enough to train for the Olympics, but when you have to go through all that and be told, well, don't take the brace off, you're going to fall over. No, this is what I'm going to do, and she did it. And then, of course, there's Abraham Lincoln. I've read several of his books. They're hard to read because the poor guy, you know, he just suffered all the way through life. When he was age 23, ran for state legislature, lost. Age 29, sought to become Speaker of the state legislature, defeated. Age 31, sought to become an elector, was defeated. Age 34, ran for Congress, lost. Age 37, ran for Congress again. This time he won, did a good job in Congress, and then when he ran for election at age 39, lost again. You know, how a person can keep going. At age 45, he ran for Senate, lost. Age 47, he sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention, lost. Age 48, ran for the U.S. Senate for a second time, lost. Abraham Lincoln, can you believe it? And then at 50, ran for the President of the United States and became our 16th president. But how much do you want what you say you want? You better have a burning desire. You got to have that passion. If you have the passion, things seem to be easy. You get up in the morning, you feel like getting up and doing something. You're excited about it. That's passion. That's your adrenaline. That keeps you going. And if you don't have that, I think most of us would absolutely give up. So, there's another story that nails a coffin in this one, and that is a story about this farmer. He's got this well that's not functional. He's got a mule that's really not functional either. An old mule. The old mule stumbles and falls into the well. There he is down there. Farmer doesn't have any idea how to get him out, doesn't know what to do, and he decides, well, I'm going to call the neighbor farmers and have them come over and just tell them, let's just shovel dirt on this mule until not only is he gone, but the well is filled up. We're done, okay? So the neighbors come over and they start shoveling dirt on this mule. And, it hurts. It's deep. That dirt falls on the mule, and he's like, what's going on? He shakes it off, and he stamps on it, and, what's going on? Another shovelful, and he just keeps shaking it off his back and stamping on it. Well, they kept shoveling the dirt in, and he kept stomping it down, shaking it off, until the dirt was building up the well, until next thing they knew, the mule stepped out of the well. And the point is that, sometimes we've got these things, these challenges that we simply have to shake off. Shake off and step up to the good that is there for us. So I think that was a nice story that exemplifies how we can overcome some of these things. Just don't let this stuff, just shake it off, step up to our good. And I'm going to just repeat something that Ernest Holmes says about this. He said, placing our entire trust, our complete faith, our whole conviction in the simple truth that we are rooted in living spirit, that we have access to the mind of God and to the love and the power and the peace of spirit. We should walk in confidence and speak our spiritual convictions with complete assurance, knowing that there is a presence and power with us and for us, and operating through us, a presence and power that knows no defeat. A presence and power that knows no defeat. So let's just take a deep breath, and please join me as I speak a spiritual mind treatment. And I know there is but one power in the universe, and I know that power has the perfect solution to any perceived dilemma in my life. I know that power is peace and love, it's joy, it's comfort, it's all good. I know I am one with it. It experiences life in, through, and as its creation. And even though I sometimes have some fear and uncertainty and anxiety over certain things in life, certain situations that come up, I now easily remember this perfect power within me. I remind myself of the peace that passes all understanding. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. I now keep an open mind to the possibilities. What else could happen? I tap into my intuition. I listen to that still small voice within. I remember that when I'm fully committed, providence moves too. I ask myself, how much do I really want what I say I want? And I remember to have the courage, like the mule, shake it off and step up. And I'm grateful that this is the way life works. This is the way the law works. I speak my word positively, trustingly, and I know it is indeed done unto me as I believe. I release these words now to that beneficent conspiracy for perfect manifestation. So it is.